Welcome back to the Three Parallels podcast with your host, the Dr. Jason Branch, where we rediscover who we were, embrace who we are, and make room for who we're trying to become. And on today's show, you already know when I bring family, we're going to have a good time. And we just inviting y'all in because we do this all the time. So, who I'm bringing back to the show? Ooh, I think this may be my first repeat guest. I think if I'm please excuse me if I'm misquoting. And I have you all to know that this particular guest was the first guest that I had a chance to practice with to start this podcast. And he was a totally different version of himself at that time, which you can go back and listen. And I cannot wait to reintroduce him to you all today. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else in between, I would love to bring back to the show Mr. Future Dr. Lewis Johnson. Welcome back to the show, baby.
Oh, future doctor. Oh, my goodness. Woo-hoo. That feels good. That feels good.
That's what I'm talking
We
about.
we put in the universe about 4 years ago, and we're going to keep it
Yep.
right there. So
Why not?
thank
Why
you
not?
for having me back. It's
Absolutely.
yeah, there a
Absolutely.
lot's happened.
Yeah. So we ain't got to waste time. We
Yes.
starting in the living room. Let's go on down in the basement. So I'm
Hmm.
curious to know down here in this basement at this card table that we at right now, that you're inviting and allowing everybody in. I'm curious to know what's happened since our first recording to where you are now.
Oh, yeah, from our first recording. So I am a father. Like, just stop right
Yep.
there.
You
Just
said
stop
that
right
out
there.
loud. You
Just
said
stop.
that out loud.
I'm a father, and I- it has been a whirlwind. I'm just
Mm,
gonna leave it at that. He is a teen, and man, oh man, I am on my toes at all times, and it has been the greatest blessing of my entire life that has shaped me into the person I am now, the father I am, the human that I am, and continues to shape me into the person I am becoming, truly, and the decisions I have made for myself, the choices I've made to protect my peace and do what is best for my family.
I love it. I love it. Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. So I am curious because we're in the basement at the card table
Mm-hmm.
where just out of curiosity, you mentioned, last show you were not a father. This show, a year later, you're not only a father, but you're a father to a 15-year-old. Come on,
Woo!
like, wait a minute, time out. There's a lot of things missing here. So if
Woo!
you're open to sharing
Yeah.
the missing pieces, because I'm sure I'm not the only one thinking, like, he wasn't a dad, now he got a 15-year-old. Like, what happened? What happened? So
It
I'm
was,
curious if you don't
yeah.
mind sharing the
Yeah,
story.
absolutely. It's been a long, arduous process, and there are aspects I won't share for, to protect that peace between him and I, but the journey literally technically started back in 2022 when I made that decision to adopt and to go down that path. Um, and it has been a very intentional journey from the entire time. So for anyone who doesn't know like what it looks like to um, go through foster to adopt, which is the process that I've navigated, very intentional as well. There's a lot of trainings. There's a lot of going into the basement when it comes to learning about your, the resource parent and adoptive parents' past, their history, family history. So we were in that basement all the time. I was like, what is going on here? And I can't say enough, Jason. Like, I can't say enough for any parent, individual who's looking to go through that process, just the importance of therapy and
Mm,
doing your work. So when
mm,
any of the paperwork, like technically, if you really want to be technical, this whole process could have been for me completed back in 2023 or so. However, I was really intentional about healing my childhood trauma. Like I've already been in therapy almost 16 years now. However, like kind of address things over time, but this was like, oh, I need to address some things because I don't want to have a youth in this space where I'm bringing my stuff onto them. And I always said, and I feel like it's the start of a book title and or a podcast of just like I never wanted to sign any paperwork with trauma.
Mm.
I
Ooh,
never wanted to.
ooh,
It wouldn't have been Lewis's name. It would have been
ooh, ooh.
Trauma Dash Lewis.
Lewis, you cannot be coming back on this show hitting folks in the head with a honey, but you just
I
got
did.
here.
I did two honey buns. Sorry, I couldn't help it.
Like
But
two
really,
smashed against the head, like boom, like
it was really intentional, Jay. Like it was
wow.
a I was like, I can't like we have to break these that generational trauma. Like it has
Mm,
to be broken. And, even though, we may not be blood, I can still carry that trauma onto him. Like becoming
come
family,
on.
it still
Come
exists.
on.
Like just because,
Yes.
like, so I didn't want to. So I've been very intentional about that process and, going to the process of reading through like his child profile, which you have to go through, but all the steps, clearances, all that you have to do prior to that, getting to that stage. And then for us, that journey in the fall was really challenging. So, he didn't come to live here until the winter. However, throughout the fall, when I met him, so after we recorded our podcast, like last year, I met him shortly after that. And, what that process looked like, um, he lived a little further out. I'll just say that. So, and it required me to travel sometimes in a given week, 16 hours of travel. That's not including work or anything like that. That's not including going to work and just life. Like it was like 16 hours of travel to pick them up, to bring them, here to that connection, all of it. So the fall was really hard, and that's a whole other probably like TED talk in the future when I'm feel ready to fully talk about all that. But it was tough. And this experience now has its challenges because of, as we know, trauma. It always comes
Hmm.
back to trauma. However, I feel that because of my experience, my knowledge, my own healing, it has allowed me to be a parent to him in a very beautiful and organic way, where there is trust and love and uh, just a lot of healing and good stuff. A lot
Love it.
of, yeah. Always hit him in
Love
the
it.
head with some honey buns. Some honey buns, give him
I
some
love it.
knowledge that is like, what?
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Thank you, man. Thank you for allowing us in.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing. Again,
sure,
we're in the
sure.
basement. We started in the basement.
We
And
did.
the reason I wanted to get your insight, your input, your experience, because there's so many people that's at the wall of being stuck, trying to make the right decision, not recognizing it's not what's right, it's what's best.
Mhm,
And Lewis, you did what was best for you and your son.
mhm,
And I'm proud
mhm.
because I've been on the journey right next to you throughout this process. And what I
Yeah.
want to share with the listeners that I know you probably may not share, but I want to share to give you those flowers is the intentionality behind it. So for those who are interested in adoption, trying to adopt, thinking about it, I need you to hear the story. You were very intentional about it and you knew like you dropped the bar. I cannot put that the old me, that trauma version of me on that paper because I had to put him somewhere where he doesn't come in messing up. And I had to set a boundary great enough. I'm just giving y'all
Mhm,
what he
mhm.
told me. I had to set up a boundary where whenever he does show up at the door, I let him know where he can go. Not that he's not coming back, but I'm
Mhm.
in control of who's in and who's out of my home, literal,
Right.
figurative, the whole nine.
Mhm,
And that's one part. The next part I want you all to hear, I don't know if you heard, the intentionality around being strategic in how I introduce someone to my home that I'm going to care for, period. This is a black male therapist who also has a therapist who's been working on himself, who is intentional about setting up a space mentally, physically, emotionally, literally for someone. not knowing who doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yep.
Boom. Third part three. I got to give it. I have you all to know. I'm gonna share this. I did not give Lewis permission, but we are organic. Put a dole sticker on our forehead. Chiquita banana. Okay. We are just organic. We always have been. We will continue. What Lewis did not share about his intentionality is Lewis decided before, now I don't know the timeline, but before he moved forward with the adoption, he adopted a dog. He became a dog
He
dad
sure
first.
did.
Uh-huh.
Woo!
Yeah. He was
And that,
intentional. So
woo.
come on.
Mm,
I need y'all to see this. It wasn't like,
mm,
let me deal with trauma, let me bring kid it. No. Let me learn how to take care of something outside of myself, outside of a plant. Come
mm,
on. I need y'all to
mm,
see
mm,
this.
mm,
And did it well. And his dog, by the name, is Sasha Fierce.
Sasha, Sasha.
I'm sorry. So I'm to call it Sasha
Yep,
Fierce.
Sasha.
So again, I was there. I was there. So I learned about Sasha
Uh,
Fierce back then, which
yeah.
connected to Lewis's third episode, which ain't even dropped, we ain't even record yet, related to Beyonce and the three parallels. I need you all to see
Mhm,
this in real time. Okay.
mm,
So
yeah.
who Lewis is becoming is at the level of Beyonce,
Mhm,
mentally, physically, emotionally. I have an
mm,
abundance. I have a mastery on being the best version of me possible on a level of the beehive. I need y'all to see what we seeing.
mm.
I have to
Ooh, I
talk
got
about I
chills.
had to talk about it. I gotta talk about it. So
Yeah,
I shared
yeah,
that. You did. I didn't know you was gonna share that or not, but I wanted to bring that up because that
yeah.
talks about intentionality and you being like willing to learn things you never knew, to be a good dad, a great dad, a father. And regardless of our lived experience and our fathers, we get to decide how we're going to be as fathers. And you had a chance to begin figuring you out as a
Mhm,
son, as a father.
mhm,
Powerful,
mhm,
powerful.
mm.
Mic drop, mic drop. So
Oh, man.
I did want to open the floor. If you anything you want to share on
No,
that piece, I had to
no,
share it.
like it's true. It's true. Like and I'm just realizing actually when we met, I didn't have Sasha yet. I'm thinking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2021. It was the
No,
summer. I didn't get her to the
you were
winter.
thinking
Yeah,
about it. You were thinking
I
about it.
was thinking
Yeah.
about it. Wow.
And
Geez. Yeah.
hold, on top of that. Hold time out, time out. I got another one. On top of before you make the decision, you were doing all this research about dogs. Come on now. I was
I
there.
did.
I
I
was
did.
there. I learned
I
about dogs,
did.
breed I ain't never heard of in my life to this day.
I did do a lot
You
of
did the research.
research, and it almost like I don't want to say throw that research out the window, but literally throw that research out the window because like there's dogs, but there's no Sasha. There's no
Come
Sasha out
on.
there. There's
Come
only one.
on.
There's only
Oh,
one. So
I love it.
yeah.
I love it. Oh man. So we finna switch gears because with that, I love how the show just flows. Okay. We still in the basement. We've been going to another room because we talked about dads. We talked about fathers. We talked about men. And for me, this episode is really special because it happened organically. And I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm excited about whatever that is. Because this is how you break generational curses. It's by talking about things we usually don't talk about or have space, protection, and safety to talk about them. So, what came up? I got to tell the backstory to the front story. Y'all know me. Okay. By the way, grab your journals. If you ain't got one yet, pick it up. Okay. Because you're going to write these things down. We got honey buns that's going to come through. We got some gems, some jewels, some ripples, breadcrumbs. They coming. Okay. So this past Wednesday's episode, July 2nd, which was actually my son's birthday. Everything is
Oh,
intentional on this side. Come
wow.
on.
Wow.
So his birthday, the episode dropped on his birthday where I talked about things that I was afraid to talk about publicly out of fear that I could possibly get canceled. So, because of that fear, which is one side of the coin, I decided to connect with my board, people that I love, admire, trust, respect. That's in my boardroom where it's love, it's energy, it's protection, it's safety. And I reached out to my board to share, hey, I want you to check out the episode. These are people that are from all different walks of life, part of the LGBTQ plus community, some not allies, advocates, a whole none. So I spread it out to a small circle of people to get input and insight. And everyone shared their thoughts, and some things were like, I need to consider this, blah, 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 blah. And then when I got Lewis's response back, it was a moment where I paused. And that pause was perspective that I wasn't considering at the time of the recording. So Lewis being Lewis, authentic as all get out. Hey, have you thought about? Hey, people, have you thought about it? And he stopped me in my tracks, and I was like, no, not enough to consider. And that's what opened the door of the conversation that we're having now of, hey, let's talk about perspectives. And that's what we're here for. So I want to open the door to dive right back in where we started,
Mhm.
connected to masculinity or toxic masculinity and pride and Amazon and all those things. Like, let's
Mhm.
talk about
Mhm.
it because for all of you listening now, you now have access to something that does not happen often publicly. It happens, but
Mhm.
not publicly at this level of maturity, emotional intelligence, connection, and everything else in between. So prepare yourself because we don't know, but we know. So let's go.
Mhm. Yeah.
What you got?
Ah, so yeah, as Jason said, he sent me the podcast ahead of time, like, oh, I don't want to get canceled. Although he also had a gem in there. What was the gem? Hold on. It was
Oh, I got you. If you need me to repeat it,
except I can't be canceled.
come on.
And there was also there was something also a Bible thing in there too that like I almost fell
Yes.
out of my chair. I was like,
I'm I'm gonna give both. I'm gonna give both. Thank
okay,
you for
good.
the
We're gonna get
reminder.
that back in there. Yeah, because I was like, "Ooh." um, but no, I listened to the podcast through and just really sat with it, and it was, focused on, what the LGBTQIA plus experience, might look like in regards to masculinity. And what I appreciated so much, Jason, was your authenticity and speaking about your experience. And when it's your experience, in my humble opinion, it's my opinion, nobody else's, you can't be canceled. It's your opinion.
Mm,
This is your lived experience. It'd be a
mm,
different story if you were continuing to approach things in the way that you shared about in the podcast. However, you were speaking about who you were, not
yes.
who you are, who
Yes.
you were, and we
Mm,
all as individuals have that experience. I can only speak for myself that, although I identify as a gay man, I don't know everything about the community because I'm only me. This is my experience. What it
yeah.
means to be gay to one person doesn't mean that way to me, and that is okay. That is perfectly fine. Like even you talked about the pink shirt, and I see you rocking it today. I love it. Also, hope those nails are done too. Just saying. I hope they're
No, no,
done.
I ain't all the way there yet.
It's
I'm
okay.
still
It's
working
all
on
good.
me.
It's all good. All good. But like really, I had that perspective too growing up of, oh my goodness, if I wear this pink shirt, it means X, Y, and Z. And in my case, maybe it did, but that's also in this case it did. However, like I wish I had someone in my life to tell me that like it doesn't matter what you're wearing.
Yes.
But I had that of
Yes.
like, I wear pink, people are gonna find me out, people are gonna know. If I paint my nails. I remember being, geez, I don't remember how old I was, but like maybe like 7, 8 years old or something like that, and getting access to like one of my sister's nail polish. And I remember like not doing all my nails, doing like one nail, and I got it on the TV. I had to scrub the TV to get rid of the and everything. But like there was something validating about that. And for me, and it was also scary because it's like I can't be found out. Where now I'm, I don't know if jealous is the word, but like jealous in a way of
Mm.
what things look like now in society. Yes, it's a shit show. We're not going to pretend. Things are very
Yeah. Yeah.
tumultuous right now, and that is true. However, though, the perspective I have too, like to see, youth and teens and be able to just paint their nails and wear certain things. Where for me, I literally remember having like going, my first ever concert was the American Idol concert, and it was when with the season with the two Davids, David Archuleta and David Cook. And I
Okay.
remember buying a shirt
Mm,
there. I would not wear it out in public though. It was literally just an American Idol shirt. It was literally, but
really?
in my mind,
Yeah.
oh, this insinuates that I'm not heterosexual. I don't know where
Wow.
the mindset came,
Wow.
but
So
that
so
speaks to that.
so curious because we're here, we're in the basement.
Uh-huh.
What was it about? Was it the event? Was it the shirt? Was it people who were about to win? Like what was, I'm just curious the connection.
Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely wish
Mm,
I knew. Like they had won because they go out on tour after, the season ends and everything. And I remember like it was also my first concert I went to, like first concert ever, but also first concert that I went to that I knew I identified other than heterosexual at that time.
hmm hmm
And in my mind, like just my reaction to the people on stage that were men
Gotcha.
and all of that,
Gotcha.
in my mind, there was a thought that even though I'll never see these people ever again, like that were at the concert, in my mind, going out in public, it was a way of being found out.
Wow.
I can't wrap my
Wow.
mind around that thinking
Mm,
now. But yeah, that was a part of
wow.
it.
Oh my God. This is the parallels. And now this parallels is that mirror image, which we talked about briefly. And now you're sharing all of it where we both have different lived experiences of placing identity around clothing, around
Mhm.
article of clothing and feeling so moved and connected to this idea and belief that we chose to live life differently because of it. And
Mhm.
now, we're in a different place and space in our lives where being able to look back at how things were then, how they are now, who we were then, who we are now, and just seeing this kinetic energy and connection to community because the core is the same as human beings. We took an inanimate thing and gave it meaning that
Right.
did not serve us. Ooh, Lewis, get out of here. Get
Look,
off the show. Get
we're done here.
gone.
Podcast
We're
over.
done. Get your ass off the show.
Yeah.
Get-
Right.
wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
So I am curious. How did you get to a place again? Who you were, who you are, who you coming? How did you get to a place
Yeah.
of growing up in that space or environment and overcoming the fear, overcoming the angst,
Yeah.
overcoming the worry of what people
Mhm.
think, and I can't, the shame, the judgment, the guilt.
Yeah.
How did you, if you have, I don't know if you have or not, but
Yeah.
how did you
No, I have.
transition
Don't worry.
to? Okay, okay,
Right.
okay, yeah. How did
Um,
you make the transition? Or I'm
you know,
sorry,
how,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I would say this: how did you make the transformation?
Ooh, oh,
Come
see,
on,
doing
come
that
on,
work always. This is why, Jason, we always vibe.
all day.
How did I make that transformation? Um, it wasn't easy, and it was really long and difficult. And while I am, I would say, even, and I'll go back to it, like comfortable in, my skin now at almost 35 years old, like while I'm comfortable, there is still a very inherent fear that lives in me just being a Black gay man in our society on July 3rd, 2025.
Come on. Come on.
Really, like
Come
there
on.
there is that exists. So I just want to name that, and I want to name that to whoever's listening to this podcast right now, that it's a real fear. It's my belief that you can be, really comfortable in your skin, and there's just a genuine fear that lies there. Like we're the community, Black community, LGBTQIA plus community, immigrant community, we're being attacked.
Yeah.
It's what's happening. We're being attacked.
Yes.
So there is that fear that just lies within me. However, I will say that what keeps me as grounded as I can be, that is, and in this amidst everything going on. And that also I would say help with that transformation is the support that I had throughout my life, the support in friends, like when I, came out to them, or I try to almost actually steer away from the word of coming out and more of like when I welcome people in to
Ooh,
learn more
ooh,
about
oh,
me.
oh, oh, Lewis. Didn't I
With
tell you get the hell off? Get off my show. I'm done with your ass. Get off of my show.
Yes, yes,
Lewis.
when I
So
welcome
we
people
gotta take a
in.
pause. We gotta take
Yep.
a pause.
Hmm.
We're not finna leave that. We are
Hmm.
not finna
Hmm.
leave that. That is too good not to eat up right now. So let's take a pause.
Yeah.
And you change the narrative. If you could, we're gonna hop off the interstate
Yes.
just for a minute at this
Yeah.
rest stop, because
Yeah.
that change of perspective created a change in narrative, which can create a
Yeah.
change in who you were. So if you could tell us that piece.
Yeah. Like when I decided that I'm going to welcome you into my journey, and what that looks like, it offered a sense of control that sometimes felt was not accessible. Um, just being a gay man, like, the experience of having to come out and like, sometimes being outed, to come out of the closet, the whole night, all of that. When I change that perspective of like, I will choose to let you in, things look different, even more so,
Mm,
especially because so that was, when I decided to let more people in, like really on a, not on a public stage, it's not like I did on stage or anything, but like I remember it was December of 2008, um, where I just, it was the time of Facebook when I changed like who you're interested in. I don't even know if they still have that, to be honest with you. Like that was me taking ownership and really like,
mm,
I'm allowing you to learn a little
yeah,
more about me now.
yeah,
And you
yeah.
can't control that narrative,
Come on.
about me. And from then, it has been exactly that, where, you know, I the way I approach my life and others too is that this is just a person. Like they're, changing that narrative of like, oh, you're heterosexual until you identify such. No, you're just a person until you decide whether you want to welcome me in to learn more about you. Period.
Powerful. Powerful. You just took all of your power back. You just
Yes.
took all of,
Yeah.
like, that's a boundary, that's a standard, that's authenticity, that's protection, safety. It's so much, man. This thing is layered. I'm talking about baked potato, sour cream, onion, chives, a rare steak,
Yes.
medium,
Yeah.
glass of wine. This all on potato. That's what that's what you just
Yeah.
gave. And I need you to know that you just gave a listener or several listeners permission to change the narrative. And that narrative, man, is so powerful. And that's why I wanted to stop for a minute. It's so powerful because it's transformational. Again, that word, it just keeps coming up because, what I heard before, again, connecting parallels, what I heard before was what you were taught and told, coming out in the closet, different things like
Mhm.
from the culture and the community, which
Mhm.
may not have been encouraging, uh,
Mhm.
positive, balanced, healthy,
Mhm.
may not have been, yeah, it serves a purpose, but does this help me or harm me? And
Yeah.
what you shared, I'm inviting people in. To me, that begins with love, period.
Mhm.
I love me enough to bring you in. I've been
Mhm.
living this life,
Yeah.
boo boo. I've been here.
Mhm.
You're new.
Mhm. You're new.
So
Exactly. You're
I'm
new.
inviting, that is powerful because it takes ownership of the house that you get to live in or you choose to
Yes.
live in. And all of
Yes.
us, every single day, we get to choose what house we live in based off of who we were, who we are, who we're becoming. Those three
Hmm.
houses.
Hmm. And
And
going
and
back to your
we
houses, I welcomed you into the living room. I didn't say you in
come
the
on.
attic or
Come
in the
on.
basement. You're just in the living room. That's
And
I
you
didn't
might not
decide
even
whether you go any further.
come on. You may not even offer a seat yet.
You.
You standing in the living
Hmm.
room.
Hmm.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I
Hmm.
love it.
Yes.
Oh man, powerful stuff. So to the listeners, this is for you. There are no coincidences. I don't believe in that. This is a ripple in a breadcrumb. And what Lewis just gave to you is not just what he thinks, what he thought about, what he tried, what he's speaking about is what he knows. And many of us get caught up in what we think and we don't do because of what we think. And we think about the outcome that we already predict and control that doesn't work in our favor. Versus changing a narrative, changing perspective, and deciding this is who I am. And I'm deciding to allow you access to me based off of what works for me at this time. Don't take your shoes off. You ain't
Mhm.
staying long. Come on.
Yeah, right,
Which
right.
means that's what you're that's what you're going to teach to your son. That's what you're going to encourage to your clients. That's what you're going to encourage to your supervisees and your students. And I'm allowing you in. It's a privilege to be here. Oh my God, Lewis,
Mhm,
this is just
mhm,
you, man. You get on my nerve.
mhm.
You get on my last damn nerve. This is just you. Ah, okay, going back because we this took us.
Yeah,
I wanted to go back because we were going somewhere related to, man, where we're going
transformation.
forward. Yes, thank you.
How I get, yes,
Yeah,
transformation. So the support of people in my life. And I recognize that, that may not be the experience of everyone, especially, youth and teens and even adults who are seeking to welcome others into their story and their journey. And, I can only speak for me that having those supportive people, and that wasn't necessarily family right away. And when I say family, like biological family, that wasn't necessarily the case. It was chosen family at that time
come on, come on.
that I were really supportive and encouraging, and just that I felt like I had a safe place to land whenever I was with them. And I think it may have also what lent itself to is that it was also my senior year of high school at the time too, and I just probably didn't care anymore too. Like it's just
Mm,
like I'm not gonna see half
yeah.
you people any ever again anyway. So like truly, um, and it just really allowed to live a life that felt true to myself. Um, and then when I went off to college, it's like a fresh start. So it's just
Yeah,
like I don't know
yeah.
anybody here kind of thing, and
Mm,
it's been like that since and has continued to grow ever since. And it's a constant I wouldn't say struggle, but something that I'm always navigating. Like I just this past weekend, I was on vacation, went to Myrtle Beach, and there were, individuals there who, asked me, I was with my son and everything, and um, I remember they were offering just like a cookie. We had just checked in or something like that, just a chocolate chip cookie. And the individual was just like, do you also have like a wife there that to provide this to? Like, and I was like, no, just my son and I, like just my
yeah,
son and I.
yeah,
But it's even then, it's like, would you like a extra one? Do you have a partner you want to provide this to, kind of thing? But it was just like you have a wife,
yeah,
at
yeah.
who's just not here right now. So
Yes.
it's a
So, and
constant thing.
yes, and what I do want to share, like having that, knowing that, experiencing that, and still deciding, do I correct? Do I
Hmm.
acknowledge? Do I,
Yes.
it's a thing. It's a real
Yeah.
thing. And I appreciate you sharing this experience because the parallels for me as a new clinician, and I don't know if you even know this story during our time in supervision. I don't know if I'm pretty sure I did, but I may not have. One of the biggest lessons, because I don't lose. So one of the biggest lessons I learned as a new clinician about intersectionality, LGBTQIA plus
Hmm.
community, and I definitely also want you to talk about
Hmm.
intersectionality. That's
Hmm.
another piece.
Hmm.
Um, Learning this and not being aware, just ignorant, my ignorance. I made the same mistake that that person did. And I had a colleague actually. This was a colleague, and we just met, white male, and I asked, "Hey, you got a family, wife at home?" And he gave me a look like, "Nah," like kind of puzzled, like, what would make you think I
Hmm.
have a wife at the house?" It was puzzled, but it was patient.
Hmm.
And he corrected me. He said, "Actually, no, my partner's a man and we do blah, blah, blah." And I was like, oh, shit. My thought was, imagine if that was a client. In
Hmm.
addition, this is a colleague. In addition, this is a person who I made an assumption because of my ignorance, again, talking about who I was, even at this level with licensure, license, degrees, and everything else. I wasn't aware of my privilege and my lens. So I only put him on one side of the spectrum. And when I look at spectrum, I look at two sides of the coin. I learned this from Uncle Myron, our Uncle Myron. Me and Lewis got a famous, rich, wealthy uncle named Myron Golden. And he don't know he adopted us, but we gonna be on this plane one day shooting the shit. Okay, it's gonna happen. Hey, what up, baby? See you soon. Uncle Myron gonna be so sick of me before we even meet.
Right,
Like, yo,
right,
But anyway, sidebar.
right.
So as we as we talk about my uncle, he talked about two sides of the coin. We get caught up on one side. And if you look at life, everything has two sides. One coin has two sides. A slice of bread, two sides of the bread. You don't just eat one side of the bread. So I had the opportunity to pivot because of what this person exposed me to, and I never made that error again. I learned from that and never did it again because he provided a space for me to learn and not, feel judged, critical, shame. He could have did me how he may have felt based off of my response. And what you're sharing another lived experience of the assumptions that people put on us, not knowing us. And every day you get to decide what you do with that information. And to
Mm,
me, what you choose to do can help you, can hurt you, um, or it could do all the things that's in between the gray. We don't know.
mm,
We don't know.
mm,
But sometimes we get caught on this could hurt me or he could hurt me, whatever, and we don't. And we're sitting with that while he's living his life insulting someone else, you know?
right.
So, Lewis, I'm so glad you brought that up. Just that kindred energy again, like we're all learning. And that's what is really important for all of you listening. I don't care who you are, where you are, your degrees, your money. It don't matter. We're human first. You strip everything away. We're human and we're flawed. We're human. We make
Mm,
mistakes and we don't know.
mm,
And my challenge to you all listening is if I choose to be a student of life, I'm always in a position to learn. And if
mm,
I'm in a
mm,
position to learn, I'm in a position to help
mm,
and no longer
mm, mm,
hurt. Because if I remain ignorant and choose to stay that way, which is a choice,
mm,
I can
mm.
continue to hurt people who ends up
Yeah,
hurting people, who ends up hurting people, who ends up hurting people.
mm. Preach.
Whew.
Truly, truly. Woo, yeah,
Uh,
like you just had me thinking about, my role as a father too, of like I have done a lot of apologizing to my son.
mm,
Like I'm not perfect,
mm.
and I acknowledge when it's like, yeah, I screwed up.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah,
screwed up. And that's
yeah.
something you, unfortunately, from my experience, teens don't always hear. Like,
Come
wait,
on.
you screwed up. What are you
Come
talking about?
on.
Like, no, yeah,
Yes.
I messed up. I did.
Yes.
I did. And
Yes.
let's say it.
Ah, this is so good. This is so good. Because,
Yeah.
oh man, Lewis, again, get off my damn show. This third time I told you. Third time I told you, get off my damn show. Oh, I love this. I love that we do this. I love we can. Again, to the listeners, me and Lewis do this anyway. Okay. We
Yeah.
invite y'all in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love this because it speaks to us, on this path, on this journey to become the best version of us. Because in every area of service, as a father, as a therapist, as a supervisor, as a professor, as Dr. Johnson, mentor, like all of these things, we're working very similarly with all of us, human beings, are going to be just like our parents, a complete opposite, somewhere in the middle. That applies to all aspects of connection. So, my supervisor, just like him, complete opposite, middle. Therapist, father, all these things. So, for
Mm,
you, very similar to me, took what you learned from your dad, what was good, what you love, I'm giving it back. What you didn't like, I'm not giving that. And what I think you need to have, I'm offering.
Yep.
And that is next level
Yeah.
because to me, that changes generations. Like your son is going to know what it's like for an adult who's in a position of power and privilege to acknowledge a mistake, willing to apologize. Some people listening right now still waiting on an apology from somebody who died years ago.
Mm, mm.
They're still waiting, and you will be waiting. Okay, they ain't coming back. You got to give it to you sometimes when those who can't, even if they hear and they're in the land of the living dead. You hear, but you're dead
Mm,
to me.
mm.
Lewis, I need you to see what you're doing. I need you to see what you're doing. Okay.
Yeah,
We don't talk about it, man.
yeah.
That changes things. That to me is what masculinity looks like. Why? Because I said
Ooh,
it.
mm,
Because
mm,
I said
mm.
it. Real men apologize, right?
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah,
Why not?
yeah.
Because we got other quotes out here. Real men don't cheat. Yeah, they do. yeah,
They
they
do.
do. Yeah, they
Yeah,
do. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, they do. Uh-huh. Wholesome men. We don't
Hmm.
we don't cheat. Yeah, they do. Again, we got to look at things from more than one side. Like I said, just like the complete opposite somewhere in the middle, and that's the gray. And you have fully embraced. I got to give you flowers again. When I first met Lewis, I got to talk about it. Lewis did not believe in the gray at all. Lewis was black and white. Fuck you.
Right.
Period. Okay.
2 + 2 = 4. Right.
All day
It
long.
was just like, right.
It's
And
facts.
now I'm like, no, 2 + 2 = 5. What you talking about? Right. Like, come on, like all of that. All of that.
All day long. And now he's in this space of I, I had to let go of certain beliefs and ideas that held me back. And now the new ideas and beliefs propels him so far ahead where we can have this conversation. We're on so many different wavelengths. And some of you all are hearing it and picking up the gems, the breadcrumbs and ripples. And it's like, that's to me, this is emotional intelligence. This is what masculinity is because we're having a courageous conversation about us and different parts of us and our differences. Although we're black men who happen to be therapists, who happen to go to therapy, hashtag black unicorn with a go horn. Okay.
Mm,
Even though we're
mm.
that, there's also another layer that we share a lot of layers, and there's another level that you have an experience of that I don't. And I would love for you to share and educate the listeners related to intersectionality, where you and I both understand what it means to be a black man in America. But we go a step further when you shared, I'm not only a black man managing to get through America, I'm also a black gay man managing.
Mhm.
And that's the intersection. So people don't know, man. People don't know. So if you don't mind sharing, what is life like in that space?
Tired. Let me just say it. I'm tired. I
All
ain't gonna
my life.
pretend. I
All
all
my
my life I have,
Let's go. Let's go.
and like we laugh, but really, all my life it has been a fight before I at conception. Shit, let's go before conception. Fighting,
Mm,
fighting.
mm,
I'm
wow.
born into this world having a fight
Mm,
simply because of the color of my skin.
wow.
Then add an additional layer because of how I identify.
Mm, wow.
And just that intersectionality, it's truly it's tiring. Like I wish I was joking. Like it's really it's hard, especially in this um, time in our society, country, world, however, like all of it. Um, it's hard to navigate it at times. Not to mention the intersectionality is me as a therapist too. Like then I
Mm.
gotta hold all these clients' stories while I'm dealing with my own shit.
Come on.
Like,
Come on. Yes.
um,
Yes.
it's a lot, and I would say that I end up navigating all of this, all the multiple layers of this. Um, Really, that self-care piece, I can't express it enough. Like truly.
Mm,
Like this upcoming
mm,
Sunday, I'm getting my
yeah.
massage. Sure am. Super
Come on.
excited. Can't wait. And we talked about it in the, last podcast we did together. That black box, like you
Yes.
left me with a gem almost 2 years ago that has just stuck with me ever since. And
Yeah.
I go back to that black box. And I'm not going to tell the listeners right now. You're just going to listen to the episode to hear more about it.
Let's go. I see you.
You
I
have to listen to
see
the episode. Listen to the
you.
episode to find out what it is. But
Let's go.
really, what, for me, like coming back to those moments of my blackness and my gayness and what that means and what that looks like and just the celebration of it more than anything, and continuing to surround myself with people that I welcome in. And
Mm,
even we're going to take it even further, surrounding myself with just the media I welcome into my life. Like I recently just
Mm,
like deactivated social media again because I was like, there's a lot happening. And I
mm.
will decide what I want to welcome into my mental space and my heart and not what I don't want to welcome in as well. So it's all about, I just got you the title of this episode, welcoming in,
Welcoming in.
welcoming in, or
Done.
welcome something. Got it? Yeah. Okay.
Done. Okay.
But really,
Okay.
like it is that being able to decide, who's there, who's coming in the living room, who's even going to even peer through the window, who's even going to see the home, because I might have like a whole blanket, big old blanket. You ain't seeing anything. I get to decide. I decide that. Truly,
Yes.
I decide
Yes.
that. And really, like, that intersectionality, it's like if it isn't one thing, it's another. And also recognizing too that the privilege I do also have as just a man in
Yeah.
general. I do
Yeah.
have a lot of
Hmm.
privilege, from
Yeah.
that standpoint. um so yeah, we could go on and on about that
All day long. All
intersectionality,
day
but
long. So
yeah.
let's get ready to go home because I've been trying to send you
Hmm.
since we've been since we started. So let's get ready to close out. So one thing I wanted to bring up, going back to you being on
Hmm.
my board, you being a board member, having
Hmm.
access to the show early on, because I did for the listeners, I did have a moment that I consider, hey, I could possibly get canceled with sharing this interview, sharing my truth. And
Hmm.
I love how you started the episode talking about how can I be canceled when I'm talking about my lived experience, and I agree. And in addition, I have to share because we talked about it.
Hmm.
Um, I can't get canceled because no one truly can get canceled. Because where is the rule or rule book on who's canceled and who's not, and what's the criteria? We don't have it, right? And last time I checked, I just want to talk about facts. Hashtag Will Smith. Um, you don't get canceled when there's influence, impact, power, and prestige. And Kevin Hart, Will Smith, you name it, our heroes, our sheroes, you name them, where people try to cancel and it got dark for a moment and then the light is back because you can't cancel somebody who is authentically them. And when I think about these people in entertainment, sports, and everything else, this is who they are. Who are you to judge or take away their humanness? And that's what I noticed, the humanness. So I want to share what Lewis said that made me stop in my tracks. Ooh-wee. And I would love for you to share your perspective on
Yes.
this because Lewis, the feedback Lewis gave, he gave his heart first. We talked, like we were able to just really get to the heart, which was enough for me. But Lewis is on another level. He ain't just gonna give me that. He said, I want being a member of the community, I need you to know what could be said. And I'm like, all right, shoot. And he gave me a few things to consider, which I did, which I had to check for me as well. Again, learning. Like it all ended in still learning. It's authenticity. It could be some inconsistencies, and that's human. So just being able to normalize and humanize this experience. But what he said that stopped me in my tracks was um, Amazon, and this was so powerful. Where it's like, just think about there's people out here. These are facts that may have a problem with me talking about what I'm talking about and being an ally advocate. And at the same time, you're promoting your journal on Amazon, which Amazon has been, known not to support and different things like that. So I would love to hear your perspective on what you shared with me, uh, and because I want to share the sides of the coin and the gray. So if you could share with the listeners your
Absolutely.
perspective, I would love for them to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you giving my flowers and everything in between because it's,
Hmm.
that kind of even perspective didn't happen overnight. Like I could have just listened to it and focused on, what, what you said in just the podcast, like the parts about the LGBTQIA plus community and all of that. However, like I believe that through my healing and through the work that I have done and continue to do, allowed me to zone in on that Amazon piece that was like, hold up, just give me a second here. Like this is what you're speaking about DEI and inclusion and the LGBTQIA plus community, and then there's this journal out there that you're promoting that I'm all on board for. I love the journal and everything on a website that we saw back in January oppose DEI and remove that off of their website and such. And here's the flip side, that same exact thing. I came back to it. I don't remember the full story, but I remember, Tabitha Brown, who, all on social media, there was that same exact experience. It's all a blur now back in January, but like people were like, when Target did the same exact thing, they were like, remove your stuff off of
Yeah.
Target, the whole 9 yards. And it's not that simple at the same
Mm,
time. Like this is
mm,
something that has, been built
yeah.
for her. And there's also recognition that you're also building as
Yes.
well. Like
Yes.
at the time you started offering the journal, that wasn't an issue.
Come on,
It
facts.
was
Come
it
on,
wasn't
facts.
an issue. And
Mm.
do I still believe that Jason finds some black owned businesses and things that will, hold your journal? Yes, I do. And I'm full. And, you know, it also makes me think that, are we allowing them to win by removing our stuff too?
Come
Are
on.
we allowing
Oh,
them to win
ooh,
by,
ooh,
just
ooh.
doing that?
Oh my
That's what they want. That's what
God.
they want. Remove all of your stuff so that the black experience, the LGBTQIA plus experience doesn't exist. If we
Man,
remove it, then it doesn't exist. So
Lewis.
keep your shit right on there and still do that active reflection of like, how do I, what other platforms can I also put this
Yes.
on, kind of
Yes. Yes. Oh, Lewis, this is it. This is it. This is exactly what I mean by the gray. The first conversation, hey, be mindful. This could be, which I agree with.
thing.
I had to pause once he shared that. And then the other side, it could be a thing too. Like I'm not going to capture everybody, and that's okay.
Mhm, mhm,
But you go a step further with have some time to reflect, thought about it, process. Hey,
mhm,
this is what I mean by being a student and learning and being open. It's not one dimensional because as you and I both were processing away from each other, I was processing the same thing to double down on what I thought initially. So when I thought initially, when Lewis brought this up, the first thought was like, nope, don't put it out there. I don't want to get canceled. Second thought was, you can't cancel somebody who's somebody.
mhm,
Will Smith. Number
mhm,
two, let's put the facts out there. And it forced me to look deeper. You brought up Target. So the issue, related to Amazon and my book being on there, you just brought a
mhm,
different fact that I didn't even consider. It was done
mhm,
beforehand. How dare I take it off? And as you say, it was built. So you're sharing so many different levels. And I went in a different direction, connecting it home. Because again, your connection to Amazon being part of the LGBTQ community is different from my lived experience. However,
mhm,
we share, again, intersectionality. We
mhm,
share a lived experience being black men in America
mhm,
who Target made some changes for DEI initially and then changed it. And I thought about that, which brings me to
mhm,
where we are right now.
mhm,
I had to compare the two because I couldn't connect. I couldn't truly understand the lived experiences for those black men who happen to be members of the
mhm,
LGBTQIA plus community and Amazon. Didn't have that. What I do have is Target. So I use Target as
mhm,
my test group. I want y'all to see this in
mhm,
real time. What happened?
mhm, mhm,
Lewis gave me an opportunity to consider something different by challenging a belief, right? So I looked at Target and I had to look at the history. Target never gave a shit about black folks last time I checked outside of an ad. Just want to talk about the history of Target. When did Target start caring about black folks? The murder of a particular black man, George Floyd, which moved to the okay, which moved. If y'all not watching this, Lewis is over here having
mhm.
church. Okay,
Yep.
it's in
Yep.
church right now.
Jeez.
So I had to connect dots. I had to connect dots. So when did Target start caring about us? I had to do this myself. When did they start caring? The murder of George Floyd, Black Lives Matter movement. That's what changed it, where we're considering people from diverse communities and cultures and everything else. That's when Tabitha Brown and everybody started to win by being exposed in this position. Then new management, new leadership, systems being systems,
Mhm.
have a new person in charge. And this country is at the leadership of whoever runs it, just like any company, any
Mhm.
president, any university,
Mhm.
whoever's running the show, that's how everything goes.
Mhm.
So until you run in the
Mhm.
show, you go with the flow, meaning there's some people that work at Target that happen to be part of a diverse group of background. Did they leave? Did they stop working? Did they stop collecting checks?
Yeah.
Probably not. Their
No.
livelihood is at stake. But we ain't even got to go that far. Where I did go was Target was Target from the beginning. They decided to be a different version of themselves temporarily. And then when the laws of or the status of power changed, they went back to who they've been. And I'm supposed to
Mm.
be upset because I don't choose to boycott in the way that you do, meaning stop shopping there. Because for me, there's tension in my house right now with me and my wife, very small, very light. And the
Mhm.
tension is,
Mhm.
how dare you still shop at Target? And and tension is, how you not? Because, and I say that because they didn't give a shit about me before.
Mhm.
They're showing me who they are. Why should I inconvenience myself for the ignorance of other people?
Mm.
I still shop at Target because my way of boycotting is different than not shopping at a store. That's an inconvenience for me. I don't deal with
Mhm.
Walmart. No shade, no disrespect. I'm a different guy now. I don't call them
Mhm.
Target anymore. It's Target. But I'm calm that. So
Yes.
I find my own
Yes.
way. But just because I don't boycott in the way that you think I should, because I'm a part of the culture, doesn't mean I'm exiled or black card or taken, or I don't care. I like talking about facts. And what I know for a fact that any company, a lot of companies, several companies are in the
Mhm.
same position as a lot of these companies that made changes because they had to. They had to. It was in their best interest to get on board with something because the leadership was black folks, Black Lives Matter movement, hashtag.
Mhm.
The new is make America great. Guess what? We need to get on board. What's the difference?
Mm.
So we're not just looking at one side of the
Mm.
coin or the other. I need you to look at all the gray because there's two sides of a penny, right? Heads or tails. But I want you to think as far back as you can to the origin of a penny, 1 cent. There was conversations that had to happen with a lot of different people. What are the materials? What does it mean? What is money? What is this? What is that? What's the name of it? Who face we put on it? What color is it? Black. Why do you think the first level of currency was the color of me and Lewis? Because that's who
Mm.
built it if we want to talk about it. And now we in 2025 having a discussion, do we keep this thing? Pennies and people of color. Full
Mm.
circle. Hashtag ICE. I just
Wow.
need y'all to see it. Because last time I checked, even the Bible has negative reviews on Amazon. These are facts.
And that was the gem Jason left me with that made me stop in my tracks when I
All
was
day,
like, oh, yep, sure
all day
does.
long, all day long. So I'm not going to be inconvenienced anymore by the ignorance of other people. And if I'm going to be one sided and look at one side of the coin, I'm not shopping there where people don't support me. Imagine every other entity that you're a part of, your doctor, your lawyer, your educator, your teacher, your parents, all
Mm.
these different people. That's people. Target is not an entity, it's a group of
Mm.
people that make rules around a business. Those people have beliefs,
Mm.
ideas, and perspective just like us. And sometimes we
Mhm.
get it wrong.
Mm.
That does not mean I have to change how I choose to live life over somebody else's mistakes.
Whew.
Hmm. Every
Wow.
day, you get to decide. And I decided not only am I going to release the episode, me and Lewis going to have a follow up because Lewis challenged me to consider something new, different, and uncomfortable. And that's what got us here. And that's
Mm.
why you all got all this goodness And I'm finna kick Lewis ass off the show finally.
Right. Yeah, right. I need a nap after that. I need
So,
a nap anyway.
uh,
Woo!
so two questions. Anything you want to share? Any last thoughts? Anything you want to share? The community, anything. And the other, I do have a question. You
Hmm.
mentioned three parallels of welcoming people in, and it was
Hmm.
high school, it was college, and current. How would you
Hmm.
describe those three versions of you allowing people in?
Ooh.
Yeah, and we may go over a little time. I hope
Uh-huh.
you're okay with that. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, wow. Yeah. High school felt, oh, if you coming back to it, I was a little baby salamander. Oh, I don't
Let's
care.
go. Let's go. Love
I
it.
was a salamander even then. And I think if you haven't heard that analogy, go back to that episode because I'm pretty sure Jason talks about it in the podcast too. So go back to it. But
All day.
I was even a salamander then. And I would say back in high school, where the things that people would say would affect me. And,
Mm,
through that personal growth, the connections with others, the lived experiences throughout college, I was still that salamander ways, and throughout my 20s and such as well. And now it feels like I'm that alligator who guess what, I don't really care. I don't give two shits because uh I just don't.
period.
Like,
Period. Full stop.
I'm living, at the end of the day, like, I'm always going to be black. I'm always going to be gay. And also, like, I'm just going to throw another thing out there that, like, we've been dealing with these experiences, especially as black people. Like, none of this is new. Like, this is
Exactly.
just another day.
Yeah. Yeah. That's real.
Like,
It's real.
it's only becoming a thing because it's affecting people that are not used to it affecting them.
Ooh, hold up. We
This
finna
is
start
just
a
another
whole
day.
nother
A
episode.
whole, I
I'm
know.
trying
I'm
to
sorry. I gotta get out the house.
I'm
I gotta
trying to
get out the
close the
house.
door. You finna start a whole
I'm
nother
sorry.
episode.
I did. I did. But truly, like, so that piece. And here's another thing too. Like, what I want to leave with as well. That Jason shared his perspectives about Amazon and Target and how he approached things and such. And guess what? He's still the shit. I still have nothing but
Ooh, wait
love
a
for him.
minute.
I have nothing but love for him because I know within my heart that he did a genuine reflection about who he is, and there's no cancellation. This is his experience, and there's no love loss ever, and there never will be. You can't. What did you say? You can't cancel somebody because there's somebody. Something
Oh,
along those lines. Yeah,
yeah, I'll take that. I'll
like
take it.
and it's also just when it comes to cancel culture too. Like, why can't we lift people up?
Come
Lift them
on.
up. We got
Come
enough stuff going
on.
on. Let's lift them up. So
Come on. Oh, with
yes,
that,
yes,
I got to put a
lift them.
ball on it.
Yes.
Lift them up by promoting what they do and not getting caught up on where they do it or how they set where the platform. Like again, racism, all these isms is everywhere when you're dealing with people. And name one industry that's not driven by people. Doesn't
Mm-hmm,
exist. Even
mm-hmm,
AI, there's somebody doing some programming, there's somebody doing
mm-hmm,
something. So
mm-hmm,
I value you, Lewis. You are my brother from another mother. You always have a way of listening, learning, sharing, giving, connecting. It's love, it's energy, it's integrity, it's honesty, it's humility. And whenever we connect, it's this every time. Like, I don't know how we just find ways to just go. Like, we just talking about referring a client. Next thing you know,
right.
next thing you
You're
know, we
right.
finna
Exactly.
record a podcast. So
Right.
these are the relationships that I value. And to me, this episode is an example of what masculinity can look like.
Mm-hmm.
Lewis, I love you, man, because you are
Jason.
you.
Oh, mm,
Come on. Grown man in here.
Hey,
I
don't
told
get me
y'all.
emotional, right? Like, and
That's
I do,
fine.
and that is
Hey,
what
you better
Yeah,
be
yeah,
careful
I
crying.
can be.
You better be
That's right.
you better be careful crying, man.
Uh,
People might think you gay. You don't want to
oh my
cry.
God,
And I got this shirt
yeah,
on.
right. You're
Be
right. Right,
careful.
exactly. Right. No, like that's what
Be
it can
careful.
look like. This bond between two black men around very real things. So nothing but love for you, Jason. I always live for these moments between us. They don't stop for the listeners because we leave voice memos for each other all the time. So we have this. This is just we live. That's all it is.
All
We
day
have
long.
this all the time. So
All day
thank
long.
you.
And I have to share it publicly because you put the pebble in the pond and now it has to happen. Lewis gave the idea that many of you already thought that this show needs to be live. And whenever I do host, y'all hear it now and it's official, okay? Y'all hearing it now. When I do host my first live, Lewis will be the guest. Okay.
Mm.
Know that it's coming because Lewis started this shit. Okay. I'm minding my own damn business, learning how to be a podcaster. And Lewis bust me upside the head with a honey bun and gave me the idea. And I'm running with it because it makes sense. It just makes sense. So, to all of you listening, know it's coming. When, where, how, why, it ain't none of my damn business. What I do know is it's going to happen. So be prepared. Start saving your
Yes.
pennies now because it ain't going to be
Mm-hmm.
where you at.
Mm-hmm. You got
Or
that
maybe it
right.
is. I don't
Right.
know. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I did see this
Amen.
show where, Taraji B. Henson was in Bali, one of her favorite places on
Mm,
CNN. I don't know where we gonna be. I ain't never been, but
I don't know. I
seeing
ain't
that
never
show,
been,
I'm
but
like, I
hey,
might want to be there.
okay,
And
maybe.
then
Right. Oh,
and then Gary Porter was there in Greece and he did the photo shoot with the red dress. I'm like, okay, Gary.
okay.
Nails
Okay.
painted and everything. And I'm just like,
Okay.
this is human. This is us. And this man, just shout out, big shout out. Whenever you want to show, I want you on. Whenever you're ready. So he's on here being his authentic self. So much so, again, can't get canceled. And CNN wants to highlight where he loves to be himself at, which was in
Mm,
Greece. It's beautiful.
mm,
It was
mm,
beautiful. That's masculinity. It's whatever I say it is. Now take
mm,
pictures.
mm, mm,
Let's go.
mm.
All right. Final
Ah,
thoughts, man. Final thoughts. Anything else?
I just want to say to all the listeners that you get to choose every day whether you will welcome someone in or not. And the key is finding those people who you can welcome in, and they'll just wait to hear what are the next steps. Can I get this drink of water? Can I put my feet up on the table?
Mm,
Those are the people you want in your life who
I
ask
love it.
permission and just love you for you.
Mm, I love it. Sounds like you're talking about us. And if I'm sorry if I misquoted. I mentioned Billy Porter. I hope I didn't say Gregory Porter. I meant Billy Porter
Oh
in
yeah,
Greece.
yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All good,
My
all
bad.
good. Billy Bray,
It
right,
make
right,
it's
right.
a difference. It makes a difference.
Right,
It
right,
makes a
exactly.
difference.
And when he's on the podcast, like you guys can talk about that.
There it
Like,
is. So I meant Billy Porter, and I'm welcoming Billy Porter and Gregory Porter on the show. If y'all got access, let them know. Come through. Come through. Now, can you imagine Gregory Porter with that damn headband he got on with a red dress? Come on now. In Greece. Can't see. I mean, we could. I don't know. This has been
uh,
another episode of the Three
mm,
Parallels Podcast with your host, the Dr. Jason Branch, where we rediscover who we were, we embrace who we are, and we make room for who we're trying to become. If this show had blessed you in any way, shape, form, or fashion, do not leave it here. Give it away. Share, like, subscribe, comment, give it to a friend, give it to a hater, give it to whomever. Just give it. Much love. Take
mm.
care of you. We out. Peace.